That ain't right. I mean,
like the old days, fucking
duh.
stuff up.
Got some stuff to add.
Curious. What do you know?
This is the last one.
I got stuff to add to
The
it
last
too.
one I do.
I got stuff to add to it.
Mission.
Wait. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
I am the J Tyler. Gotta have time to masturbate.
Well, I think it kind of speaks for itself. He just goes completely anti-science.
I'm money for naughty favors.
So where's that mushroom toy? Because that mushroom head seems to get in the way.
Camera
I'm a
off.
good girl.
Watch
Choose
it.
what the kids
never
would call a
happens.
slut.
You
Terrible
would've done it
to
for sure.
say that, but apparently there's no denying
One
she
and
was
only.
one.
I want to apologize to all of you for what happened in there. In our competition for ratings, we all lost sight of why we got into show business in the first place.
Yeah, titties and beer.
I guess he's not being charged for hollering about masturbation and
Hey! Hey, everybody, welcome to Up Together Live. I'm the J Tyler.
I am your Miss Parker. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
It's going to be less and less.
If you say so,
Winding down.
you say
Well.
it out loud and you'll make it happen.
Yeah, just like I'm building a boat.
Oh yeah, you made that happen
Oof.
too.
Yes, look out for the Tsunami Queen.
Yeah, Tsunami Queen.
I am barreling
Rules
through
the
this
ocean.
project,
Do you
and
have-
yet I'm taking my time with it.
You're gonna show some video.
I've got
time-lapse?
some time lapse, but I haven't transferred it to it. I want to put
Oh.
it together to some tasteful music. Yeah, like a Tallywhacker remix or something.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm looking for good music ideas.
Oh, Christopher Cross is sailing.
Yeah,
that's what you were listening
Yeah,
to.
the remix. I wonder if I could find a Christopher
Oh, I
Cross
bet you could
remix.
find with a say,
Yeah.
takes me away.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't do that very well. But
people are my future. So, just random shit because I've had time today.
crab season's back.
Crab
We
season's
can't
back.
use the pot though. That
Fun
was
with animals.
So satisfying.
No, the trap.
No, we're gonna use the trap.
No, the pot is what we're using. The ring.
Oh,
is
the
what we're using.
ring. But the
The thing
big-
is called the boxy thing is a trap.
I thought you said it was a pot.
No, that's different.
How many snares have we got?
Plenty.
Okay, so we just need bait. So,
Yeah, which I have frozen from the last time we were
sushi.
calamari. Actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was sushi at the pier last time. It was salmon.
So when I'm not on the boat, listening to everything horrible about like history and like trying to put it all, you know what I mean? Like it's weird. There's so many bits and pieces of like people that were, let's say, almost famous that I learned about, like people that had big effects, but you just have never heard of these people that had, that were like pre-World War I. And this one guy in particular, his guy's name is Jürgen von Sternberg. He was this like crazy, he believed in like monarchy, but he was also about like sort of freedom, but with this like iron, freedom with an iron
when
fist.
Was this guy?
This is pre-World War I was mainly like his, but he was real like this Asian file, but he was from Russia. And he follows like Confucius's rules. Basically, what it comes down to is he sits back and this is the early teens before World War I happened. And he was like, two things are going to happen. We're witnessing the decline of Western civilization right now and the dissolution of the monarchy. The only thing that is going to change this is it will either change adopting more of Eastern philosophies or it will burn in the fires of war. And he was kind of right about it, right? Now, maybe sitting up on the Russian steppes, sort of overlooking this, running his own little fiefdom as he was. And he was a fucking raging nightmare. He was abusive and murderous and just had no interest in Western civilization, but he lived on the Asian steppes and he wanted to put himself into position to be this go-between between the Mongolians, because he was super obsessed with Mongolians and the Western civilizations. He wanted Russia. The Bolsheviks didn't like that, so his own men turned him in and shot in the back of the head.
Oh, I was going to say.
Taken unceremoniously to somewhere and shot in the back of the head.
Not shot in the face.
Hopefully thrown into a ditch like all of his victims. Anyway, learning all that stuff as I do.
Thrown onto railroad tracks, in a dumpster, eating a bag of dicks and lit on fire.
So I'm gonna do like stories like that are gonna be like long form stories. I'll probably be writing them while I'm on my boat sailing. First place I'm going is Academy. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You wouldn't believe the progress I made though. It was funny because the guy comes over the other day and he goes, "You all right?" Because I was in there fiberglassing and they could smell it. I popped my head up. I got my mask on and everything. But anyway, so in between that, what do you know about EV fires? Because
I know.
I take breaks in between learning all about Nazis and Russian war criminals.
It just so happens I'm an expert on EV fires.
Yeah. What do you know about them? Like what happens when an electric vehicle, right? Like doesn't burn, right? No gas, no engine, right? But they do burn.
I know nothing about EV fires.
Well, let me tell you.
It wasn't obvious.
Let me tell you about EV fires. They have a chemical inside of them that if it reaches boiling point, if it pops out of the casing, so they smother the fire, the fire department smothers the fire. The thing can reignite like days later. Just this chemical is like hard to contain. They can't put it out. They can't keep it out for long enough to like contain this thing.
This is why people believed in witchcraft.
EV fires. That's why. So I came up with an idea. I thought if you just have an EV fire vehicle, and it's basically like a dump truck. And so you roll up on the scene, you fill that dump truck full of water, you take that whole EV, little crane, and just pop it right in there. It's all in the truck. And then you smother the fire, and then you can get it out of the way. But literally, like, these things will explode. They're not that dangerous. That's why I guess they want to build in all these features, like self-driving to, or like predictive braking sort of things. Because if you do get into an EV fire wreck, that fire will it's like a blowtorch and there's no stopping it.
So how often does this happen?
Rarely, because obviously the rarity of electric cars. Also, it's like, I think a lot of electric cars are relegated to cities. So it's not exposed as much, let's say, during its driving life to high speed.
Speaking of electric cars in cities, remember the Tesla guy?
No. Oh, Musk?
No, not that Tesla guy. The guy in San Francisco who kept using his Tesla.
We did a story on that.
Yeah, like over a year ago.
But he was so rich, he just had like 10 of them.
So they would impound his Tesla over doing that. Yeah. And then he would
go home, open his garage to his other new Tesla.
Get in the Tesla, sit in the back seat, have it drive him around, rinse, repeat.
I don't know why he didn't get a mannequin to sit in the front. I mean, he's so rich. Why didn't he just have a driver?
I think he got off on
doing it,
getting away with sitting in the back seat and getting caught. That's all I can think of, is that it was as you would call it, a flex.
A flex?
An amusement flex. I think that's what we're talking about.
Herschel Walker, we're going to get to him in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You want to hear what he has to say?
Yeah. And I want to hear what that woman on the end has to say. This lady. Who is this lady?
I have no idea. Dean Dolan, Todd Wood, and Herschel the Man Walker.
So we've got apoplectic white woman, very angry white guy, and Herschel Walker.
I love his glasses.
He's like,
wow.
He's trying to look smart.
Those are some serious, like, no one chooses those frames. Those are the frames that people like me get, because those are the only ones that'll hold the 3-inch thick lenses that you need to jam into.
I think those are the kind of frames that'll get your ass kicked in 5th grade, don't you?
When he was in 5th grade, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to hear what he has to say?
Yeah, sure.
Herschel, how do you feel about people that want to change America? Herschel, how do you feel about people that want to change America from when you and I were kids? I mean, there's, we have, I guess it's 80 to 90 or 70 to 80 million people in America that were born after 1990.
But she says, these kids.
Yeah, they're adults.
33. I'm doing the math. You're talking about 33-year-olds.
People born in Y2K can drink. Actually, they can drink.
In Florida, they might have grandkids.
I forgot what year it was for. Totally. What the fuck, man?
Oh my God.
Hey, what do you say to those kids and those young people that are voting?
Give us
Well,
your
first
words
of
of
all, they
wisdom
don't know
first.
that the grass is not green on the other side.
You know,
And
that's
they
like
think
a
that's
double
somewhere
negative
better.
thing.
First of all,
I can't get my head around that. I can't get my head around what this guy, who's been hit in the head like 20 times.
20,000 times.
Yeah, I for some reason I just can't
And
follow.
not just on the football field, probably.
Yeah, well, he was a fighter. He was a boxer, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, like, again, it could be a thing similar to a stroke in that in your brain, you're saying the words, but they're just not coming out right because shit's not firing right. Well, in his case, it's probably because one too many blows to the head. It's great that Fox is like they're on this thing now where they're just like those. It's like I've never seen people that were so like young, my age and younger, that are like those whippersnappers, those 25-year-old whippersnappers, right? It's like, dude, you date people younger than them. Oh,
You pay for whores younger than them.
But it's like, oh my God, dude. But they're really leaning into
Looking at
that.
you, Matt
Like,
Gaetz.
it really tells you who their audience, is, because it's like, even me, I'll be 50 next year, right? And we're gonna have a show about that. But there are dudes on UDoc that are like, whatever, you're a kid, like I had to prove myself with the Tsunami Queen, right? Like that I wasn't just the fourth idiot that came along and was like, oh, having a boat's a good idea. It's like, no, after a couple months, they're just like, holy shit.
That's true. You're like a baby on the dock. But Christy, that woman we met, she looked like she was about my age.
They're like, you're talking about decade or a decade or slightly more or less. Like these people aren't 75. You know what I mean? They're in their late 50s to early 60s, and they're just like, whatever, kid. Like, what the fuck do I have to do? So
I like the perspective. There are people who look up at me and say, "You are a mature woman of vintage," or something. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that phrase.
vintage C.
Yeah. I think you mean vintage P.
DCP. Get it all confused.
Yeah. But then there are people who are over 60 who are like, I'm just a baby.
You trying to change, dude? Him and I are almost the same age. Like, he ain't much older than me. Herschel Walker's not that much older than me.
He's 10 years older than you when it comes to blows to the head.
We grew up in the 70s. It's like we're not so far apart, generationally speaking.
But he's not talking about you.
But he's talking about
talking about millennials.
She's saying you wanted to go back to the way it was when we were kids. Lady, you're 65 if you're a day, right? You're on the ass end of being a boomer, right? Give me a fucking break, dude. You're not even close to the same generation as this guy is, man.
So they have a cutoff point, I guess, when they're whippersnappers. So what? Is this guy like 52?
How old is Herschel Walker? I think he's 55 or something, but I'm not sure. He did play in the 70s and 80s, right?
Play
Football.
Well, then he's older than
80s.
that.
Pro'd in the 80s.
Okay, if he pro'd in the 80s, depending on when in the 80s,
Yeah,
because if it was late 80s.
Anyway, I could look it
he's
up on a
55.
supercomputer right now.
Yeah, well, we don't really give a shit. So,
But-
and we're about at time.
They don't know that the grass is not green on the other side, that they think they're somewhere better. And if they know another place is better than the United States of America, my thing is, why don't you go there?
Yeah, they will go there if they're elected.
Coming from Sweden, we're out.
Fuck this place.
We'll be back in a moment with a movie pick.
Oh, yes.
Movie pick. And I'm the J Time.
I am your Ms. Parker.
And this.
Is nothing yet
Come on. Just
live.
do it.
Never gonna.